right now. Okay. So thank you for coming. As you know, my name is Philip Edu. I'm one of the methodology experts at NCADE. So today I'm going to present or give a brief information about how to use a software that is free, qualitative software called the QDA minor Lite. Okay. So this software can be used to import files. So when you have your data with you can import them, and also you can create demographic information that will be, you can link it to the participant transcript, and then you can code. Coding means that you assign labels to the significant information you identify in the transcript. And then you can visualize your findings and also export the findings so that you can report them to your audience. It performs the basic functions, right? So in terms of the coding, where you want to extract significant information from the data that you have uploaded into the system, you can assign labels to or assign code to the significant information. You could connect demographic the variables to the codes that you have created, and you can also search for words in terms of how many times a specific words or group of words are used in the transcript or participant responses. You can also create tables that you can use for your presentation. You can create charts. You can also categorize your data or categorize the code, but it's not straightforward. And I'm going to explain why it's not straightforward as I demonstrate how to use the software to you. And also, as I said, you can export the code and also their respective frequency. Frequency is how many times you assign the code to significant information that you have. So these are the basic for performance, basic function of the software. So in my presentation, I'm going to demonstrate to you how to import files, how to create demographic variables, and also code data, visualize findings, and export findings. So in terms of importing files, what do you have to do? So before you import your file, you have to think about your research question, right? And so example is, so I have two research questions here, and then you have to assign labels to the research question. And I'm going to explain later why you have to assign labels to that research question, right? So I have my research question here, two research questions, and I've assigned labels. So the first research question, the label is amount of time spent on IRB review. And the second one, you have to assign labels to the amount of time spent on non-content issues. After you have assigned labels to your research question, then you go to your transcript, right? So as you can see, let me pull up this information to you. So as you can see here, I have 6 transcripts from 6 participants. So you can see participant A1, A2, A3 to A6, right? So you have to label your transcript based on the IDs you have given to your participant, right? So I did 6 interviews. Let's assume that I did 6 interviews and I have 6 participants, and I have 6 transcripts. So you label them nicely. And then after that, you open the software where you have to upload or import that information into the software before you start the analysis. So you have to download the software on your computer first. And so you click on the software, and then it will take a little time. And they have 2 options here. You use the free option, not the upgraded one. This one you have to pay before you can use it. So you click on the free option, and then you go to create a new project, right? So because you are starting a new project. If you had an existing project, then you can click on open, and then you can go and open the existing project, right? So since you are starting a new project, you can create that. and then click on create a project from a list of documents or images, right? So you click on that, and then it takes you to your where you have all your documents. So you have to look for where you save that information, and I have to go down. Yes, so I've seen my folder now, QDA folder that I've created, and I click on that another folder under that to get access to my transcript. So I click on the first transcript, and I click on Shift on my keyboard, and I click on the last one. And then you can click on add and bring all the information here. And you can do it one by one, or you can do it everything here. Let me see. Let me show you if you want to do it one by one. So you click on this one, bring it there, bring it here, bring that, and bring this one. So click on create, and then you don't do anything here. And then you click on OK, right? So when you click on OK, it will ask you about the name that you want to give to the project. So you just type any name that you want. So I would say maybe faculty data set, and then click on save. So you can see here that you have the software open, you have all your transcript here. So participant A, if when you click on it, it shows, the transcript shows here. If you want to see everything, you can pull this one here. And you click on participant 2, participant 3, 4, 5, and everything shows on the work area. So this place is a work area. So when you click on the document, it shows here. So what do you have to do next? Before we go on, I just want to give you some basic information about the functions. So the project means that if you open and you want to create a new project, you click on that and create a new project, or you can open an existing project or reopen an existing, or you have to, if you want to save a project, you can click on save as. So these are the main functions you have to know. And if you want to export a document, maybe you want to export all the transcript back again onto your computer, you can click on document, right? When you go to cases, think about cases as participants information, right? So if you have 6 participants, you have 6 cases that you have to deal with, right? So in this case here, this means that you can add a case. Let's say I do another interview, right? So I want to import it and add it to the 6 participant I have. So you click on add, and then you double click on this one, and then you can open the file that you want to bring that information, import. Then you click on that information, and I have nothing to import, so I don't want to click on anything. So that's how you can add a transcript. Let's say you have done additional interviews and you want to add it to the system, into the system before you do the analysis. So cases are you can think about it this way: containers that are created for each participant. So each participant will have a container, and when you open that container, you have all the information about the participant, right? So if you have 6 containers, we assume that you have 6 participants. You can do some kind of you can group the items, but we're going to talk about this later. The most important thing here is to add, right? Then you go to the next one, variables. Variables, think about it this way. Think about it as demographic variables. So each participant, let's say you want to add demographic variable like their age, their experience, their maybe the campus they are affiliated with. In this case, this participant is from Chicago campus. So you can create variables and assign participants into those variables that you have created, that categories under those variables. So think about it as demographic information that you want to add. So code, so after you've done everything, you start the coding process, right? So coding means that you identify significant information on in the data. Let's say I identify this information, right? I highlight it and I click on code and I click on add, and then you'll be able to name that significant information. And also we want to put it under which research question, right? That's the reason why you have to label your research question, because you are coding in the information based on the research question that you have. So if you have 3 research questions and you are coding this information, the system, you can indicate the research question that you want this information to be dropped into or under, right? So I'll demonstrate that to you, but I just want to know this basic function. Document is referring to this information right out here, right? So let's say you want to cut, you can highlight and cut. So this we can use it to edit the document that you have. Let's say you want to arrange how you ask participant questions and they are responsive, you want to arrange it in a nice way, or you want to clean the data, you can use the document to do that. You can see you may be familiar with these icons. It's similar to the Word document when you open Word document. All these icons are here to help you to edit the transcript if you want to do that. You can take some information out, you can add some information that you want to add. So you can use all these functions here to do that. You can print it out if you want, you can save that information. You can search for a particular word that you want to search. So this information here is familiar to you because you always use Word documents, so it's not a problem here. Retrieve, let's say you want to extract some information from the data, you can use the retrieve function, and I'll demonstrate that to you too. And lastly, analyze, and we're going to, let's say after doing the coding, you want to know the code frequency, like how many times a specific code is assigned to a particular data or a group of data, then you can run this analysis and know the number of codes, number of times a particular code is assigned to significant information in the data. Help, let's say you need help, you want more information about specific function, here you can use help for that. Before I continue to the next stage, I just want to open and see whether you have any question for me. I'll be happy to address them. So I just want to make sure that you understand these functions before I move forward. It's easy to use. The name is not confusing. Code, variables, cases, document, retrieve. I think this is not, to me, it's not confusing. I don't know about you. So do you have any question for me before I continue? So the variable option will make a graph of those. For the variable option, it doesn't really make a graph. You can use it to make tables. So you're gonna have a table like what? Let me show you something here. I think, yeah, I will demonstrate to you, but it will help you to know that for this kind of code, what is the is it from this participant? What is the demographic information in terms of gender, in terms of experience? You can get in the table form everything for you. So it will help you to connect the demographic information to the main code that you're going to create. So another option that I just want to let you know is that you can always, you have 2 options. So when you get to code here, you can cases, you can click on case and then click on add. Another option is to go into the window of the case, right? And then right click and then you can click on add and append if you want to do. You can delete a case if you want to. Let's say if I want to delete case 4, I can just click on that one. The same thing when you go to variable and you right click under here, You can add a variable, you can delete a variable, you can do some transformation that I haven't done yet because I don't think it's important. Oh yes, you can transform from, maybe if you want to transform a variable from nominal to maybe a string variable or date or any kind of thing, you can, or you want to recode the variable, you can do that. And here too, you can right click and then you can add a code here. Especially this one is very useful if you already have developed codes that you're going to use, right? Maybe you already have about 20 codes or about 10 or 5 codes that you want to use to drop information. You can go ahead and do that. You can just add and then type the code, and then you'll be able to drop the significant information after you have done that. So that's all that you have to note here. As I said, it's one of the easiest software I've ever seen. So the next stage that I want to show you is the demographic information. So how are you going to create demographic information? One option is to right-click the space there, and you click on Add, and then it will ask you the name of the variable. So let's say I want to document their experience, right? Because I asked them about their experience. So I type experience. This one will not allow you to add a lot of letters, so you have to be very careful the label that you give. But the description is where you can type maybe this variable. You can just give the meaning of that variable. If is about the experience of maybe participant, anything that you want to write to help you to remember what the variable participant, and then it will ask you the type of the variable, right? Is it nominal or ordinal? So this means that is a categorical data, like is it a gender? Gender is a categorical data. Experience can be ordinal depending on how you arranged it. So if it's ordinal or nominal variable, then you can choose that. In my case, it's numeric because I asked participants to give me their specific number of experience, 2 years, 10 years, 4 years. So it's not a nominal data, it's a numeric data, or it's a continuous variable. So you choose that and you click on, I think it has already indicated in the integer, so it's whole numbers. If it's like a floating point, it means that it's a decimal numbers, like 0.25 or 1.35, then you can check that. But the information is whole numbers, right? They gave a specific number of years, so I just check that, and then you click on Add, right? And then you can create as many as demographic information that you want to create. So another one that I want to create is the rank, right? I asked them of their rank, and you can just type what you mean by rank there, and then rank is either nominal or ordinal, right? So I check that, and it gives you another option for you to indicate the attribute of that variable, right? So in terms of rank, I gave them options, the option that you gave participants. So you click on Edit here and then type the option that you gave to participant, associate, professor, and then so you type the option. So every option should be on one line. So assistant, professor, and then you click on enter, and then professor, and yes, so these are the options that I gave them, and then you click on OK, and then you click on Add. So you can see that the rank, I've also added information. I didn't give the description. You can provide description there for that variable. Let's do the last one in terms of, so I asked them about their campus. So you describe, and the campus is categorical data, right? So you check that and you go to edit, and then you give the options that you give participants, the attributes or the categories that you gave them. So you type it online, LA, DC, and maybe others. And you click on OK, click on click create. So when I do that, you see that it has populated here. So I have the document, which is the participant 6, and I have the experience, rank, and campus, but there's no information here, right? So you can start with participant 1, and you click on this area, and then you can indicate. So you can see that based on the data that I have, participant 1 has, in terms of experience, so here it doesn't give you option because remember I indicated that it is a continuous variable, so you have to type the number of years right there, and then the rank, this one will give you options because I indicated the options there, right? So this person is an associate professor, as you can see here. So indicate that the campus, the person is in Chicago. So I check that. So you can see that for this participant, I've been able to provide the demographic information linked to it. So you do the same thing for the second participant, right? The number of years is, this one is 2 years. The rank, this person is an assistant professor, and the campus is online. Right, so we do that for all participants. So now you have demographic information. And then you move on to the next stage where you start the actual activity with the coding, right? And the coding is all, as I said, it's all about assigning, identifying significant information based on your research question that you have, and then assigning labels to them and then dropping them here so that everybody can see, right? So one option that, because of time, we cannot go through everything, but let's do one example or a few examples. Look at participant 3, and then let's say you are going through the document, and then you identify some significant information. So let's say we identify this significant, we know that it's very important for maybe research question 4. Go here and click on add. So when you click on add, it asks you about the name of the variable, right? So no, the name of the code. So this one, I want to give it not much impact. And then it's asking you under which category. In this case, this is where at the beginning I told you about assigning label to the research question, right? So this is where you assign a label to the research question. So this one is related to the research question 4. You click on that, and then you click on under that, and then you put the label that you gave to the research question 4. So you can see that here, amount of time spent on IRB, and then in parentheses, I indicated the research question I want to, the research question this label is linked to. So it's linked to the research question 4, right? So you state the code that you represent the significant information, and then you put it under a specific research question. And after that, you click on add. Let's say this one is important, right? So you highlight that information or select that information and decide what kind of label you want to give, right? And then you go to add, you go to code and click on add. And then you can type the label that you want to give to that information. So let's assume that we want to give this name to that significant information. So you just type in the label or the code name that you want to give to that significant information, and then which research question. It doesn't belong to research question 4. So what you have to do is to create a new one, the research question that this one should come under. So this will belong to research question 2. So I just copy the label I gave to that research question and then paste it here, right? So you can see that it's under, I've coded this information and I put it under research question 2. You have an option to describe what the code all means, so you can type in what you mean by depends on student chairs who are working with, or this one. You can just type in and describe so that when you go by, you know what this label stands for. And then you can click on add. You can highlight that information and double click it here. So when you double click, the information shows, the code shows on your right side. See that? So I think that maybe I made a mistake by when you highlight and go to add, it will create the variable, but it will not show here. So I think that the best way is to create the code and then you highlight the significant information you are interested in, and then you can double click that. So when you double click, it shows here that it has been coded, right? So let me repeat it again. One thing that you have to do is, after identifying significant information, the best thing is to determine the label. Right after determining the label, you can right click here and then go to add, and then you can type the label, and then you can type the research question you wanted it to be under, and then you click on add, and then you drop that information into that the code that you have created. So in dropping, you just highlight that is significant information and then double click the variable that you want to add it to. So you highlight and double click. So that's how you're going to do it. So I've already done all these things. So let me open what I have done so that you'll see. So as you can see here, I have coded all the data. When you click on each of the variable, the participant information transcript, I've coded them following the same style, and you have all the codes under here. So you have the research question and the code that I created. They are here. So the next step is to think about, okay, you already have your information here. You have created all your nodes under the research question, but you may have to think about how do you categorize the code that you have created under each of the research questions. It's going to be very difficult for you to categorize them here. So I always advise students to export the information into maybe Excel spreadsheet or into Word document and start the categorization process. And I have a presentation on how to categorize, sort your data. I can send you the PowerPoint to help you to do that. So as you can see here, I did a YouTube video on that, how to do the categorization. So if you are interested to know how to categorize your data, I'll be happy to send them to you. Yes, so I'll happy to do that. Okay, great. So the next one that and that's why this software is free, because it doesn't have some complex function that you have to do. But the good thing is that you can start on this side, and then when you got all your information, then you can move to use other resources to create what you want. So that's all about it. And I always tell students that um, qualitative software, they don't do the analysis for you. It's not like SPSS where you can run t-tests and you get your results. You work with the software. This means that you determine the kinds of code that you have to give to the significant information that you identified. What the software is helping you is to organize the code so that it will be very easy for you to make reference to when you are presenting your findings. So after you have done the analysis or the coding process, you can go to another thing that I just have to show you here is sometimes it's very difficult to know where you haven't coded, especially when you code and then you take some time off and come back again to the data. So you can go to document and then you can click on view coded tests and then you can click on dim. So this means that all the things that you have coded will be dim so that you know what, okay, I haven't coded this place. So what label should I give? Or is it a significant information I have to consider? So you also have options to um, hide the code if you want to hide all the one that you have coded so that the one that you haven't coded will be visible to you. You can do that too. You have the chance to highlight the places that you have coded. So you have options concerning, to manipulate the data to make it easy for you to code the rest. And also, if you want to indicate the number lines, you click on this one and it shows the lines so that maybe if you want to communicate this information, you can tell your audience, okay, if you look at line 53 to maybe 54, this is what participant was saying. So there's many ways that you can use this function to manipulate the data and to do what you want it to do. Another thing that you may have to, you will be maybe interested is, let's say you want to know the code that you have created and you want to put it in chat, but you want to focus on individual case. So this time we are looking into participant 3, right? So you right click on this work area and then click on chat. So when you do that, this is what you're going to see, right? It gives you information about the code that you created for the significant information concerning case number 3 and the number of words. So this is just showing you the number of words that belong to this specific code that you created. And then you can make it a little bit of, make it colorful by clicking on this one and then so that you have different colors. And then when you click on this arrow, it will go to the second variable, the second case, the next case. So this is one of the visuals that you can show. You can make it in a different display in a different way. And also, as I said, you can change the color if you want to. So you click on one of them and then it will change the color. And you can also do a word cloud. This just shows the code that you use, and it's like the bigger the font, the higher the number of words that you coded for that. So you can display this one if it makes sense to you, and also it will make sense to audience. So this one is for individual case. But if you want to also run some analysis for the whole case, then you can go to retrieve, and then you click on coding retriever, right? Click on that and this dialog box will show. And what you have to indicate here is you click on this icon and then you indicate what kind of information you need. So these are all the code with the individual research questions, and under each of the research we have the code that you created. So you check these or the ones that you are interested in and you click on OK. So after that, you can click on search. So search will give you all the categories. So here the categories are the research question that you have. So for the research question 1, this is the code that was created under this research question 1. This is from this participant A. This is from this text of participant A was taken or coded. And when you go to your right side, the number of words for that, and then comment if you had comment. Let's say you indicated your reflections. I have to also show you how to write memos for each of the code. I can show you after this. So this one, you can export that information. You can click on this one to show all the words and all the text under this code, and you can arrange it based on the research question so that it looks nice. So you can click on group by category. You are grouping it based on category. So for research question 1, these are the codes that you have, and also significant information that you coded, and the number of words. And this for research question 2, you can do the same thing. Another thing that you can do is to export. So you click on this one, you can export this information here. And before you export, you can also arrange it based on code, right? So so you see that I arrange it based on the code. So for this code, it belongs to research question 1, and this is the significant information. So you can do it the way that you want. It can be based on case. It can be based on, so participant 1, right? This is the code significant information, the code that you created under the first research question, and also the test. So you can do it the way that you want. If this information was coded more than one coder, so let's say 2 people are coding this data, then you can group them based on who code what, and you can export it by click on this save icon to export that information. Another thing that you could do is going to analyze, and then you want to know the code frequency. So you click on that, and then you click on this portion, and then you check all of the variables and the codes that you are interested in, and you click on OK, and then you click on search. So you can see that this when you click on search, you'll be able to get all the information about the code that you have, and also the count. So the count is the frequency, how many times this significant information was assigned to, how many times this code was assigned to significant information. And the cases are how many cases, from how many cases. So this one, not much impact, was assigned to 3 significant information, and it's from 2 cases. So this is what you're going to get. So let me repeat this analysis again. Let me close it and repeat. So if you want to use the analyze function, to click on that, you go to coding frequency, click on that, and then click on this icon, and you check the codes that you are interested in, and click on OK, and click on search. So this is what you're going to see, the count and also the cases. And when you click on table, this also gives you information about the research question, and also the code, and also the count, and here to the number of cases that are assigned linked to a specific code. So this is what you can get, and also you can export this information, and so that you can do further analysis to try to see whether you can categorize some of the codes and then come up with themes or categories, right? So if you want to export, you can click on this one, and then it will take you to the place that you want to export. So my computer freezed because I click on that, so I don't want to make the same mistake again. So, but you can try and do that and see what you're going to get. Another thing that you could do here is to um, create a chart that is similar to what we did, but this time it's for all of the code that you have, right? So you create a chart by clicking on the first first row, and then click on the shift on your keyboard and click on the last one so that you'll highlight all of the codes information on the table, right? Then you click on um, the chat, and this is what you're going to get. So you can see that support DWEs and MEs is the highest. It has the highest frequency, and you can make it a little colorful by clicking on this and then click on a color, and then it will change them to different colors. And if you want to display the number of cases, then you can click on this one, and you can see here that this place has changed. So this is the code and then the number of cases. So you can see that supported DWEs and MEs is there. Has a higher number of participants who indicated that. So this graph can be also used, and you can display it as part of your findings. I don't know whether you have questions for me. I'll be happy to address them. You can also plot it based on the number of codes. You can do it about, this one, a percentage of codes, percentage of cases. So you have many ways of displaying your information. You just have to choose which one is meaningful to you, and then you can use it. Um, you can also present it this way. You can export it by clicking on save, and then it will take you to where you want to export that information. So this is what I have for you. One thing I just want to show you is if you want to write a memo, right, as you are coding your data, you can just right click on the code that you have created, and then you click on comment, and then you'll be able to type your reflection on this kind of on the code, and then you can save that information. So when you save, you see the little yellow information there. It means that you have added a memo to that. So you can also create a memo if you want to. So this is what I have for you. If you have any question, I'll be happy to address it for you. But as I said, because this one is free, it doesn't have a lot of functions that you can use, but it has the basic function that you can run your analysis and do further categorization if you want. But this is just a way of organizing your codes and be able to export tables that will be able to use it to present your findings. I just want to show you this one. So I exported information from the software, and when you export it, it doesn't look clean. So sometimes you have to readjust the tables and the columns and everything to look nice here. So normally I click here to highlight the whole document, and I go to borders, and then I can add. So it always comes like this. It shows like this when you save it, but it will be you can indicate bring borders there and do it the way that you want to make it presentable. So any question? Let me see what I have. Oh yes, so yes, this one is simpler. I also use in vivo to help students. In vivo is a very powerful tool, but it has a lot of function. But this one is like this is for beginners. If you want to know how to code using a software, you can start from here and then you can use the complex ones. So thank you, Dr. Betis. And then it's very informative. If you have any question, go can we reach out to you. Yes, yes, you can contact us and we'll be happy to address your questions. You can email us. Let me show you my email, or you can directly email NKD and they will forward that information to us. But this is my personal email and also the NKD ME's methodology expert email. So if you want any clarification, I'll be happy to address them for you. I hope you learned a lot from this. So thank you.